bless Nigeria.
I'd like to thank you all for your presence here today and to appreciate the consistent support that the agency continues to receive from all and sundry. This Inception workshop of the Africa Minigrids Program is another testament to the quality leadership at the REA, headed by the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Ahmed Salihijo Ahmed, as well as the guidance we have continued to receive from the Federal Ministry of Power and other partner agencies.
The Africa Minigrids project is significant to Nigeria because it will ensure satisfactory quality of life for people and promoting economic development with benefits such as improved human well-being and social equity, while reducing environmental risk and ecological scarcity.
If you want to go fast, they say, you go alone. But if you want to go farther, you go together. I think the importance of this workshop, if you ask me, is in the collaboration between the various parties, including the REA, the UNDP, the GF, and its various partners, including the Federal Ministry of Environment and the Federal Ministry of Power.
And seize this opportunity to welcome you all to this very important Inception workshop designed by the development partners, ourselves and other stakeholders in furtherance of our agency's mandate and other global aspirations that we have. I must commend the UNDP, GEF, and other partner institutions who have continued to support our agency in our mandate while pushing us a step further at every point of our journey towards equitable energy access in the country. What gives me pleasure, to be very honest, is if we look around and see that we're deliberately designing programs and we're bringing stakeholders of relevant agencies on board. For me, I don't believe you should dabble into something you don't know, and you should always be in a situation to learn from the experts. That is why when I see myself sitting next to seasoned professionals from the Federal Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Power, it gives me pleasure to say that we are trying to design these programs in such a way that we continue to ensure that that institutional knowledge is being sustained. So this workshop is also another testament to the invaluable support that we continue to receive from the federal government through the Federal Ministry of Power. So without much ado, I will declare this Inception workshop open. And I sincerely look forward to the outcomes to see how we can move this program forward.
Thank you very much. This ovation is for everybody.
But it's very important also that you all understand that the AMP, as we call it, child project in Nigeria, is actually part of the Africa Minigrids Program, which is quite a large program, at least for UNDP. It's our largest program on energy access to date. And what is interesting, I think, for Nigeria more particularly, is that actually the child project in Nigeria, and as was, mentioned in the introduction, is at the same time a child project of the AMP program, but also in Nigeria, a child project of the Energizing Agriculture program. And that is linked to the fact that even though you will see that through AMP, we are trying to have a bit of a common structure for the national projects, we still, of course, look at every country individually and what are the particularities. And then, we try to look for a niche where AMP national projects can have really a significant contribution to the sector.
The program is financed by the Global Environment Facility, supported by the United Nations Development Program. The national implementation partner, of course, is the REA. Grant amount is $5.91 million. The co-financing is estimated to be $96.5 million. So that's what we expect as the multiplier effect from the implementation of this program. Duration is 48 months. And the overall objective is to support access to clean energy by increasing the financial viability and promoting scaled-up investment. In Minigrids in Nigeria, this is designed as a child project of the Energizing Agriculture program. All in all, this just entails two things. one set of activities is project development for the pilots to be deployed, and the other set of activities include the support for the industry, really. So the market intelligence, repository of sites, financing schemes to be developed, a roadmap for manufacturing, capacity building, and other things that are sort of outward and beyond project implementation, because we believe coupling the two is really what gives us the desired results. So I'm going to stop here and invite my colleague, Mohammed Jibril, who is the technical lead for the Energizing Agriculture Program, to walk us through the Energizing Agriculture Program and the programmatic budgeting under the Technical Services Department of the REA. Over to you, Mohammed.
But the Energizing Agriculture Program, the EAP, has been designed to look at and to tackle and focus on one of the key priorities that REA is looking at, and that is to look beyond providing mini-grids to communities, but also looking at the economic lives of people within these rural areas. And agriculture to us is a no-brainer that that it's the basic thing that you would see in almost all rural communities.
So with the Energizing Agriculture Program, the first two components, stakeholder collaboration and intersector scaling, and non-market services, which is currently focused on data, is supported by all the non-project development activities under the AMP. So the capacity building, roadmap for promoting local assembly, the financing mechanisms, the lessons learned report to be developed, replication plan, the repository of sites, and the GIS platform to enable decision making, and additional site-specific data collection activities are all in contribution to these first two components of the EAP. As for the third component of the EAP, the Energy Agriculture Innovation Accelerator, as Mohammed explained in detail, there are 5 teams that are currently working on these projects, and they have advanced. We also have the projects under the programmatic budgeting, the solar pumps and the standalone dedicated mini-grids that have also commenced. These are on-ground projects attempting to grant truth these ideas that we have and the objectives to be achieved. And the lessons learned and the early feedback from these projects will provide us with a lot of insight for system design, choice of technology, and the productive use equipment for the pilots under the Africa Minigrids Program. To also just acknowledge that there's also the Rural Electrification Project component on productive use appliances that is also currently testing 5 pilot projects across the country. The early lessons and results from that project will also inform everything we're doing.
For the program, there is a project steering committee, or if you like, a project board that is in charge of monitoring the activities and ensuring that the milestones of the program is being met.
Because it's a JEF project within a UNDP space, we are required to acknowledge and contribute to the reporting systems of both JEF and UNDP, which is what you're seeing here, the JEF annual report, PIRO, and also the JEF returns, and as well, very importantly, also the midterm evaluation and the terminal evaluation of the project, which would also be done to meet the requirement as well as the UNDP requirement.
For those of us here physically, would like to be divided into 2 groups. One group to take on component 1, innovative business models, essentially the projects to be developed, the various outputs that contribute to that. And then the second group on innovative financing, the various supports that will have financing mechanism, for example, and all other aspects really around ensuring that the projects can be funded sustainably. And on that note, we'll be on the lookout for all online participants, their questions and observations, while we'll let the teams on ground to assemble and begin the brainstorming session. Thank you. So that's it as a summary and as a quick response to some of the questions. This has really been helpful. In view of time, I'll stop here and just invite Madam Ngozi Chimdi Ejogu, the Deputy Director, Bilateral Funds at the Rural Electrification Fund, to deliver the closing remarks and vote of thanks.
And I pray that in not so distant a time, we shall also gather again to celebrate the many successes that will come with the Africa Minigrid Program. It's been a pleasure having each and every one of you here today, and I thank you.